Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another Sigma Live Hangout. Today we're discussing with the President of the Pan-Cyprian Union of the United States in New York and the re-elected President of PSKA. Welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
How is it being back in Cyprus, Mr. Philip Christopher?
Very hot.
That's the usual case in Cyprus. One can just count the days that it's cold here.
Well, it's always a pleasure to be back in Cyprus, and I usually come every year at the same time because of the conference. Mm-hmm. So it's in the month of August. I'm always in Nicosia for the week, so I get to see many friends that we work together on the political issues. So it's always a pleasure to see all my friends here.
How did it come that you left Cyprus in the first place? How did you go to the U.S.?
My family immigrated there. I left Cyprus when I was 10 years old, and fifth grade, elementary school, or fourth grade, I guess. I was going into fifth grade. And I have 5 sisters, my father, my mother, my 5 sisters. We all immigrated to the United States.
How come? Was it poverty? Was it the search of a better future? Was it the invasion?
No. My father's first trip to the United States was in 1928 when he was 18 years old. And he went through Ellis Island and dreamed of being an American and living in America. He stayed 5 years, and it was the worst period in the history of the United States, the Depression between 1928 and 1933. He came back to Guerinha, met my mother. They fell in love, they got married, they had 6 kids, and he couldn't afford the 6 kids, so he decided to go back.
And you stayed in New York?
New York was all of my life.
All your life. Well, most of your life, but still you never felt quite American. I understand that you feel Cypriot. That's why you founded the Pan-Cyprian Union.
Well, I guess so. I mean, the family, when I went back, I went to a Greek-American school, so the roots were there. During the summer, I would come back to Guerinha and spend the summer there. So and my mother never spoke English, so we were all very, very Greek Americans, and Cypriot traditions ruled the house. So when I went to New York University, and I went on a soccer scholarship.
You were an athlete.
I was an athlete, and as a result, we wanted, after the invasion, we thought it would be appropriate to do something to promote Cyprus and project Cyprus. And we founded the Pan-Cyprian Association of America. And it started as a soccer team, and then it developed. It's been 40 years. The Pan-Cyprian Association now has made up of 5 divisions, including a youth division, an athletic division, a women's division, the choir and the dance group, and also the political action committee.
So you're keeping Cyprus alive within New York for people that have migrated years ago, and for people that happen to be in the U.S. in New York, either for studies or anything else, or that migrate.
Well, when it started, after '74, there was quite a bit of an immigration, many refugees that were forced to come to New York. So I was employing many of them. At one time, I was employing 1,000 Greek Cypriots that left the occupied area and came to New York. Plus, we had many students. And our soccer team was made up of Cypriot students that came to go to universities. Pan-Cyprians provided them a scholarship to the universities instead of paying for them to play. And we had a terrific team. We won the United States Championship 6 times. And we many players that you would recognize. So we had quite a bit of following, and then from the soccer team, part of the people that came to New York, many of them were dancers, from some of them from Susta, some of them from the Shakali group, and we formed a dance group, so that attracted a lot of people. Then they asked me to form a choir and the women's division, and one thing followed another. We acquired a building in Astoria, which is the heart of the Greek American community, and we have been active. And I think we thrived because of Cyprus being occupied, and the dream of basically seeing a free Cyprus. My parents were very, very involved. One of my sisters, which you may have heard her name, Fanny Petalis, mm-hmm. She had the newspaper Broini, which was the newspaper supporting the Cyprus cause. So we were totally involved, family, in the Cyprus issue, and everything revolved around Cyprus.
It seems to me that you dedicated your life to Cyprus, although you were living abroad for quite some time, and you're still in the US. You have dedicated your life in Cyprus and the Cyprus problem. Would you have done it any other way?
I'm not sure. My wife is not too happy about it, but it's true. My priority over the past 4 years was always Cyprus, and I guess I was committed because my parents were so heartbroken, losing the home in Gerinia, which they dreamed of having their grandchildren go. So it was a promise, I guess, that I made to my parents.
So you are in Cyprus because of the convention, the annual convention of PSKA.
Yes.
We had elections, you had elections, you got re-elected again. You've been president since the 90s.
Yes.
40 years in the Principian, and now 20 years and counting, 30 years and counting with PSKA. How does that feel? Is that, I wouldn't say a burden, but do you feel the weight of the responsibility that you carry being the voice of the Cypriots abroad?
I do, and I'm not very happy that during this past 40 years we have not made enough progress on the Cyprus issue. We sort of rationalize by saying that we have made some steps, or we rationalize by saying that if we were not involved, how worse would it have been. That keeps us going. The fact that the Republic of Cyprus is a member of the European Union, and I think we played an instrumental role in that. The fact that we passed legislation on the missing, the fact that we are in some way influencing the United States government in regards to Cyprus. So we rationalize that even though our dream of returning to Gerinia has not been achieved, that we have helped the Cypriot people in their struggle for freedom and justice.
You talked about the missing. We had reports from Mr. Fotis Fodiou, that is in charge of the missing persons right now, that tries to find them, that the rhythm is too slow, and if we keep it up, if we keep it down, there won't be a reason for the committee to exist.
Well, the original number of Greek Cypriots was about 1,600, and there's still about, I think, 1,050 that have not been found. And the reason why it's slow, obviously, as everything else, that's the obstacle to a solution. The Turkish army has declared the zones where they want to investigate as military zones, and the army does not allow them to go there. From our perspective, we are making all efforts. We did pass the legislation in the United States in regards to the 5 American citizens that were there, but based on that legislation, we were able to start the DNA process, and one American citizen, of course, that was found, that was 17 years old, Andrew Kasapis, who was born in Detroit, Michigan, and died holding the American passport in his hand. So that gave us some momentum, and every one of these issues, by the way, helps to educate the public in regards to what happened in Cyprus. The fact that how did this mission come about and how they were executed, and so it's an issue that we are still striving to help, but it's been very difficult on the families that have missed.